If you're trying to decide between the Samson Q2U and the Technica ATR2100x USB microphones, then this video is for you. They're both great, affordable options for recording your voice without using an audio interface, but which one comes out on top? Let's find out. Hey everyone, Joe here. I'm going to split this video into 3 parts. Firstly, we're going to take a look at the build quality and the features of the 2 microphones. Then we're going to do a sound test so you can hear exactly what the 2 microphones sound like. And finally, I'll be giving you my verdict on which one I think is best. So firstly, let's take a look at the build. They're both solid, heavy microphones. They feel solid in the hand. The Q2U is a little bit bigger than the Technica. They've both got an on-off switch and a pilot light. Q2U has volume buttons right at the bottom there. That's just for the headphone output, so you can listen back, use it as an output, or you might be using your speakers or headphones through your system. You can't control the input level. You can't normally on USB microphones. You've got an XLR port at the bottom as well as the mini USB port. So even though it's a USB microphone with all the preamp and everything inside, you can use it with an XLR into a audio interface. And it's the same with the Technica. It has both there, but the Technica has a USB-C, the more modern USB connector, which is a nice bonus. The Technica also has its volume slider there. It's a little slider rather than buttons. This is kind of annoying when you've got the USB cable plugged in. I'll just show you now. When the USB cable's plugged in, it's kind of gets in the way. I'm a bit concerned that I might end up flicking out the USB cable during a recording while using that. I think the Technica is a little bit sleeker. It feels slightly more premium, although the switch itself is slightly less snappy than the Q2U's. The pilot lights, they're on all the time, so as soon as it's plugged in, it's more of a power light than to show you that the microphone's on. So just something to point out there. One nice little thing that they've put on the Q2U is a little rubber strip around there, so it saves you from damaging the microphone or damaging your desk, and also makes it less likely to roll off your desk as well. Now, in terms of what's included with the 2 microphones, this can vary where you buy it from or when you bought it. The bundles, the stuff that comes with it seems to change. And also I did pick these 2 up second hand. But with the ATR, you get this funny little desk mic stand. It's a little bit awkward. And like I said, I bought this second hand, so I don't know how long it's been used for, but this is already kind of gone a bit flop. It's gone a bit floppy and a little bit loose, as you see there. And also it's got this standard microphone clip. It also came with a USB-C cable, of course, you'll need that. And this very cheap looking XLR. I don't think I've ever seen an XLR cable that has all plastic connectors, but there you go. I wouldn't expect to use any of the stuff that it comes with anyway. Normally you're going to want to get a good boom arm, especially if you're doing a podcast. And if you're using an XLR cable, I'd upgrade to a different one. But the Samson packs normally come with a few extra things as well. My Samson didn't come with a stand, although I know you can get them with a stand nowadays. It comes with exactly the same mic clip as the Technica, a leather bag, and the USB cable, of course. It's a USB mini, not the USB-C, and a pop filter. I think some of the packs now come with a foam ball, but this one came with this pop filter. It's quite nice and compact. It's one of the metal ones. It's again a little bit loose, and this is a bit flimsy, the connector. Again, I'd recommend getting a better one, maybe one that comes with a good boom arm. So in terms of the build, they are very similar. Few positives to the ATR, with it being a little bit smaller and having that USB-C, but then a few things I prefer with the Q2U. The snappier on-off switch, the buttons for the headphone volume instead of that slider that gets in the way on the Technica. Now we're going to do a sound test. You're going to hear the raw audio from both of them compared. You're going to hear a little bit of singing, speaking. You're going to hear a difference between the noise level as well, the amount of noise that both the microphones pick up. So make sure you're listening on a good set of headphones or speakers. and really try and listen to the difference between the two mics, see which one you prefer. This is me speaking into the Samson Q2U dynamic microphone. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is me speaking into the Technica ATR2100x dynamic microphone. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. Lately I've been losing sleep, dreaming about the things that we could be. This is me speaking into the Samson Q2U dynamic microphone. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is me speaking into the Technica ATR2100x dynamic microphone. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is me speaking quietly into the Samson Q2U dynamic microphone. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is me speaking quietly into the ATR2100x dynamic microphone. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's have a look at what we've recorded. I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the sound and a couple of little quirks and things with the recording. So this is the first one. We've just got the raw audio. Now these are both recorded straight into Windows with maximum input level. So you can see that obviously the ATR is recorded in a much louder signal. You can't change the input signal on there. We've got it maxed on Audacity and Windows. Obviously we can just make this louder, but what I actually had to do was re-record the Samson. Where is it? Closer. So I had about 6 inches or so between me and the microphone. But before we listen to the closer one, let's compare the direct recording in the same position. So the ATR. This is me speaking into the Technica ATR2100x dynamic microphone. And the Samson. This is me speaking into the Samson Q2U. Right, so it's obviously much quieter. Let's compare it with the close one instead. This is me speaking more closely into the Samson Q2U dynamic microphone. There we go. So they both sound nice and clear, nice and warm. The Samson's obviously a quieter microphone in terms of the level it's picking up. I don't know if that's the same across the board. Others who have tested both these microphones might have a different experience, but for me, Samson's picking up less level. The ATR, this is me speaking into the Technica ATR. Sounds a little bit brighter. You can really hear those S's a little bit more sibilance. It's quite a well-rounded sound. I like it. Whereas the Samson is a little bit warmer. This is me speaking more closely into the Samson Q2U dynamic microphone. So you can hear that there's a little plosive there as well because I've been speaking more closely into. Even with the pop filter, not much you can do about that if you have to speak that closely into it. But yeah, I think they both sound great raw, especially for the price for a USB microphone. I really like the sound of both of them on the voice. And then I've just recorded some room noise, basically just the self noise that the microphones are creating. I'm going to boost both these signals. So obviously there's a lot more signal going into the ATR. So we're going to get more noise, but it's all relative to the voice as well. So let's compare it with the actual voice in there. So this is talking very quietly into the microphone. Me speaking quietly into the ATR2100x. This is me speaking quietly into the Samson Q2U. So obviously if you had a quiet recording, so sometimes when I'm editing podcasts to get really quiet recording, I have to boost the level of them. I need to boost the level. So I'm going to boost these. Okay, and let's listen now. See if you can hear that noise. So firstly, the ATR. This is me speaking quietly into the ATR2100x dynamic microphone. Testing. Yeah, so you can hear a little bit of noise there now. This is me speaking quietly into the Samson Q2U dynamic microphone, testing. So yeah, because it's got a slightly quieter signal, now that I've boosted it, you're getting a bit more of the noise. But generally, if the microphone's been used properly and it's been set up correctly with a proper signal, then it shouldn't be an issue, especially for something like a podcast. Although, to me, if I received a recording like this, I would do a bit of noise reduction. But that's kind of worst case scenario if you're speaking really quietly into it. Having said that, noise can be affected by your setup. So the noise that you get might not be exactly the same as what I'm getting here. But they both sound great. They're both warm and intimate, not picking up much room sound. I think they're both great options for recording your voice. So they're both solid options for a USB microphone if you don't want to go down the audio interface route. They're both dynamic microphones as well. They don't pick up much room sound, so they're great for people who don't have acoustically treated rooms. They're both around the same kind of price point. The Samson normally comes in a little bit cheaper, at around £70, $90. The Audio Technica tends to go for around $100, £80 or so. But I find that the Audio Technica actually loses its value a bit more quickly. I found this cheaper secondhand than I found the Samson. I got the Audio Technica secondhand for about £40 and the Samson was about £55. So you can't really go wrong with either. They're both great options, but I'm not going to leave you empty-handed. I will give you my verdict, my opinion on which I think is the better option. Firstly, if cost is an issue for you, I'd go whichever one is cheaper, basically. They both have some subtle pros and cons, some subtle differences, but if you really are trying to cut costs, then yeah, I'd have a look for maybe a second-hand Audio Technica or a Samson Q2U. I mean, they're both cheap, even new. So whichever one you can get cheaper, the price does tend to fluctuate a little bit. You shouldn't be disappointed. And they both come with a 2-year warranty at time of recording. If cost isn't an issue, then for me personally, I'd go for the Audio Technica ATR2100x. It's a little bit louder, so if you're not in an ideal recording situation, that's going to help, and overall it's going to help keep noise down a little bit, so because you don't have to boost the level as much. I prefer the sound out the box. I know some people are going to prefer the warmer Samson sound, and that's fine. If you really prefer the sound, then you're welcome to go for that one. But I feel that the Audio Technica has more of a kind of well-rounded out-the-box sound. I like that it has the USB-C, and despite that kind of annoying volume slider for the headphones, I think I prefer the build, to be honest. It's a little bit smaller, but it still feels tough. And also Audio Technica might be a little bit biased there. I've been using Audio Technica stuff for a long time, no affiliation with them or anything, but it's a pro audio brand. They have some amazing microphones, again, that I've been using in studios for a long time. So I haven't been using up these microphones, the two today, for years and years. I can't tell you what they're going to be like in a year or two time, if they're going to have any issues down the line. But again, my personal opinion, I trust Audio Technica a little bit more as a brand, and then with the other factors on top of that as well, yeah, I'd go for the Audio Technica. But again, you're hopefully not going to be disappointed with either, and some of these little factors that I've mentioned might swing it one way or the other for you. So let me know in the comments section below which of these mics is your favourite, or if you haven't picked one up yet, have you decided now? Or if you do pick one up, then let me know what you think. I'll leave links in the description below for the two microphones. For more recording and microphones mixing content, just hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.